We have an outstanding challenge coming up this weekend, and what we have to do is continue to improve as a football team. We know this North Carolina is a very solid team. They end up losing the weight there at the end. I think Wade drove the ball 93 yards for a touchdown. But they're a very good offense, and they're up-tempo offense, and they're on the ball quick. They try to run a lot of plays. They have a lot of respect for Larry Fedora. He was the head coach at Southern Miss when we played him in the bowl game, coached with me at the University of Florida. Offensively, the quarterback Renner started against us last year, does a good job of just commanding the offense. Have two outstanding running backs in Blue and Giovanni Bernard. So they like to run the ball. They're a team that gets downhill. It's more of the zone read play where they try to open up the holes and let the back cut it back. Offensive line is big. This is probably one of the largest, biggest football teams we face. Similar to the team last year, similar to the same North Carolina team from a year ago. Offensive line-wise, you know, you look at guys 6'3", 6'4", 280, 300 pounds across the board. It's just very athletic. Do a good job when they pull on their run plays. The wide receiver, tall wide receivers, a lot of height. 6'4" guys also outside at wide receiver. Throw the ball up a lot, run a lot of now screens to the outside. So defensively, the thing we have to do on defense is execute the defense. Can't give up the big play. And they try to get the ball in their wide receivers' hands because they're playmakers. And they try to get the ball in their playmaker hands and let them just try to outrun people down the field. But when you look at them on defense, they're very aggressive on defense. Does a good job. Dan Dish is the coordinator, also was with me at the University of Florida. But they're very aggressive on defense, very solid in the kicking game. So this is a great test for our program. I think this weekend we will find exactly where we are as a football program and the steps that we need to continue to make to change this program and get it headed in the right direction. But you know, we're excited about the challenge. We know this week we're going to have to go out, and last week we weren't very consistent. We got to work on our consistency, work on the up-tempo on defense, and make sure we get a line and not give up the big play.
Where do you think you are? I mean, is this, you've coached national championship teams. This team's ranked 19th in the country right now. Are you there? Are you that good? Are you?
Well, if you think about it, when you look at a team that is just a nationally ranked team, you like to say that you are a junior-senior team, and we're not there yet. We have 9 seniors, so you would like to say, hey, when you get to that, when you start talking about winning championships, you like to be a junior-senior team. So we're still growing, we're still maturing, and it's really, you really don't know where we are. I really don't know where we are right now, and we just have to continue to play. And if you look at from week 1 to week 2, you like to say, okay, week 1 they look really good, then in week 2 very inconsistent. So you still look at us, and we still have a lot of growing up to do.
Did you see improvement Saturday or not?
I thought I saw improvement on defense. I thought we executed well on defense. The first 3 drives with Missouri State, we were able to go three and outs, but just offensively we never got into a rhythm and just never were able just to take control like we did. I think we ended up with 475 yards, probably left 150 yards on the field.
You attribute your starting field position being so poor too. Should guys let balls go, or it seems like you guys are starting way back.
Well, if you think about it, I thought a punter did a really good job because I think that they started on the 17, like the 10 and the 12, and then we had the penalty the one time. So Ryan Johnson did a really good job of punting the ball and putting them in the hole. But if you look at our stuff with our offense, the week before we were able to drive the ball, 99, 93, and 85, and I think we started field position round 1 where it was like 83 yards, and then the first one, the punt hit us, so that's why it ended up on the 1-yard line.
With the new coaching staff at North Carolina, have they totally overhauled everything when you played them last year?
Well, it's just who he is on offense, and they're a zone read team on offense and up-tempo, and last year they were more of a 2-back power, try to just knock you off the ball, just because they had a big line where they just come off and attack you. Just now, it's when you look at the zone read, a lot of it's sideways, so it's more of just trying to get up on blocks, get to the second level, let the back find the hole.
How similar or different are they to the previous 2 offenses you guys have faced already?
Very different than both of them, because you look at Kentucky does a good job. They just threw the football, and then just this past week, same thing. But these guys, this is just a tempo where they're going to be on the ball right away. And I think they have to. I know he has 2 tempos, and it's really hard to practice it. because you can just go out and practice all you want, but in a game it's just so different. And we have to survive just that first quarter of it where it's coming right at us.
They don't rely on the short passes as like Kentucky and Missouri State did as much, or?
Well, what they do is they throw the bubble screen out, and then they would throw a lot of nows, but it's only because it's how you align. If you leave guys uncovered, then they're going to throw the ball out there. But a lot of their game is down the field, and you know, it's a fake here and then just try to get the ball, because their receivers are so athletic. I mean, you're looking at 6'4", 6'3" guys lined up at wide receiver.
You talk about running the football all the time, but there are times like Saturday where a team's just going to play to not want you to run. How hard is it for you to kind of concede, okay, we're not going to run, we're going to throw mostly?
Well, even after we went back, Paul, and looked at it, we just didn't do a good job of just getting on blocks and just sustaining the blocks and moving those guys out. We had some runs there that we just, where a guy would just slip off a block and you know, be one or two guys just miss their block completely. We felt like we could have ran it better on Saturday. I think we ended up with over 100 yards rushing, but we could have ran it a lot better than what we did. But the throw was there. You know, they loaded the box, so you have to throw, and we were able to throw the ball down the field.
What do you do with a guy like Teddy? He seems to be so accurate. What do you work on with him in terms of say, hey, well, you really screwed this up? I mean, he's only thrown like 10 incompletions.
Well, he still have to improve. It's the one thing about it. No matter how good a football player is, you still have to each day work on his mechanics, work on his fundamentals, work on his technique. Because what you don't ever want the player to ever think that he's better than what he actually is, and that could very easily happen when you're getting a lot of publicity.
What can he work on? What do you want to see him? You want to see him do better?
Well, it's just managing the game. I mean, we had some throws there Saturday that he didn't make the throw on. So it's just finding those open receivers and making it. One time Eli was running down the field wide open. I think the long throw to number 9 where we had Devontae open on the post route and we didn't make that throw. But so there's still throws that he can make.
What's Renner like, the North Carolina quarterback?
Renner is, you know, what the thing he does is because of what they do on offense, a really good play action pass, and can throw the ball down the field. Has a really strong arm and throwing the ball down the field.
Coach, having Daines back on the field, what does that mean for the offense?
Well, you just look at all the receivers are all playing well. I think that what wide receiver position right now, Andrew Smith is probably, and he's a senior. And you like to think that when you become a senior, your seniors play your best football, and Andrew is. But he just adds more depth to the wide receiver position.
Charlie, after the game, we asked about Jeremy. He went back in and he did everything check out yesterday or since Saturday with his foot or ankle or.
Yeah, it was his ankle, and I think it was more of a scare than anything with him. And then he was able to go back in the game and finish out, and then he came out of practice yesterday.
You mentioned you'll know better where you are after this game. Do you like games like this where you're tested like that?
Well, you just you look at it as an ACC opponent coming in here with just have some tradition about them, and it's a big football team, and they're going to look good. And it has to be a physical game for us.
Was Devontae nicked up at all? I don't really remember him a lot in the second half of the game.
Devontae, he played in the second half, didn't he? If he does, it was nothing much.
Hamstring.
Yeah, it's not much if he does. He practiced yesterday.
How different is North Carolina if Giovanni Bernard isn't able to play, didn't play against Wake Forest?
Well, they have the other back. They played 3 or 4 backs, so I don't think they're no different at all. Because Blue, once you run an offense, and it doesn't matter. I mean, if we have a back to go down, we won't be any different. So it doesn't matter who's carrying that ball. We're going to be the same.
But doesn't he seem like more of the home run hitter out of those backs? Like I don't. It doesn't seem like the other guys necessarily have that speed and that quickness that he brings on.
I just don't know how fast those guys are. But I mean, Blue 15 looks he looks fast himself.
Sean, what do you attribute the proliferation? It seems like there's just a lot of teams running the no huddle, or maybe you just played every team that is. But why no huddle? Why are teams going to that so much? Do you think?
A lot of times it's just who they are, and if you watch, a lot of people think they can get a lot of plays ran and just line up, get on the ball fairly quickly. And it also has to do with just if they can get a score, then it makes you play from behind. So now instead when your offense go out there, you got to try to play catch up. So we got to get a score. But if you get lined up with people that run the no huddle, just get lined up and just execute the defense and don't give up the big play. You have a chance. And that started. A lot of people have been doing that for a long time. I think the first time I really faced it when Oklahoma had the quarterback that's at St. Louis now, Bradford, but they were running a ton of plays, and then we played in the national championship game. But it's just all about just getting lined up on defense.
Are more teams using it, you think, or not? I mean, or do you think happen to hit 2 of them or 3 of them?
Well, I think that people always feel like if that's what is their best way of attacking defenses, then that's what they're going to use. And right now, I think that you look at the teams that we played, they feel like, hey, that's their best chance. Because plus, if you look at a lot of teams on defense, if you're not very good on defense, then you have to go no huddle to get your score.
As much as attention as you pay to your own team and the team you're playing, do you feel like you have a good enough grip on the national picture to know whether the 19th ranking is appropriate?
No, I don't. I tell our team all the time, it's our peers who think we're like that. So I don't know how good we are, but do they deserve it? I would say they deserve it just because of the way they've worked. But still, though, we still have a lot of football to play. It's 2 games into the season. We have 10 left, so we're exactly at the end of this year. I tell them all the time, it's not where we start, but how we finish.
If you were casting a vote, what would be the key factors that you would weigh in deciding who's number 1 or who's number 2?
Well, I just look at what the depth of what everyone has coming back, and plus you also got to look at junior, senior team and who's playing well at the particular time.
Charlie, this was a game last year where Jamon Brown got kind of thrown into the fire and making his first start. What did you see in him that that made you believe he could make the conversion from defense to offense?
Well, at the time, we didn't have another choice because we didn't have many linemen. So it was like, Jamon, you have to go play offensive line. Because if you remember, I think at that time we had Castling may have been hurt, but we go into that game, and John Clark even played guard. Remember John Clark? He was in our guard. But we were just so decimated at that time. It was like, wow, I mean, who do we have? Who can go in? Please not another lineman get hurt. Then a defensive guy is going to have to go over and play. So Forbes was coaching him kind of on the run.
How much did you guys have help for him? I don't really remember that game, but he was going against Quentin Coples, and he's wound up being first-round draft.
Yeah, Coples was, but he didn't. If you think about it, Jamon is so athletic, so you just tell him who to block. A lot of times, just get in the guy's way. But he's so strong, so he never got ran over, and it just he went in and played very well.
Vance, before the season, said that the defensive line would be the leaders of the defense. Had they been that? How have they graded out over the first 2 weeks?
Well, if you look at our defensive front, it's not been many opportunities. Ball is coming out a lot, so it's just that they still need to improve. The whole defense need to improve, though.
You had a freshman start there in Sheldon Rankins. How good is this kid if he's able to start over all that talent of return?
Well, a lot of times that talent's not playing well, so everybody gets an opportunity.
What does Rankin show?
Well, he has some ability, but like I said, if those guys aren't all playing well, somebody else get an opportunity.
So Carolina traditionally has guys who go to the NFL and good athletes. When you look at their team this year, I mean, do you see guys that jump off the screen of NFL type ability?
Oh, you do. If you look at the guard, Cooper is a offensive lineman, is very athletic. And then the wide receivers, I think Highsmith is one wide receiver, probably about 6'3", 6'4", very rangy, can run. The quarterback, and then on defense with Reddick playing, and then they have 2 cuts defensive backs. They're very talented. So it's a group that they recruited well. I think that Bush recruited well there before he was let go, but there's some really outstanding players still left.
So in terms of athletes, is this the best team that you've gone against?
Oh, probably will be just athletic, just guys with athletically, they will be one of the best.
Charlie, the 2-point conversion 2 weeks in a row. And Marcus made a great catch the other day. I mean, is that something you see before the game, obviously, and say, okay, let's try this on the first one? Or?
No, Carter's always trying to come up with new ideas, and so I tell him, I said, well, if we go for it, it better work. So the first time was a slant. The second one here on Saturday with Missouri State, they rushed the guy right at Stein, so Stein just did a good job of just getting the ball off, and Marcus is so athletic. He is an outstanding athlete where he can go up, have very soft hands where he can catch the slant or go up over someone.